Welcome back, guys. This is the first time of me introducing this. We'll discover all important information of all bands which I'm going to be introducing down there in my description box as always. And I will also create a playlist with all the songs. I would love to introduce a band which actually has 3 names, considering their just whole band creation and musical development over the years. And I will really begin with the first ever band name, which was called Sammie America's Gasphetti. A Fanno d'Amore was the beginning of the whole Mom and Sammie America's Gasphetti, Sammie America's Mom period. One of the initial founding members behind the band, one of the masterminds, was called, as you can possibly guess from the band's name, Sammie America, but he's more well known under the name Tom America because he is just extremely involved in many different artistic projects. He's even doing some solo projects currently. He does have an own website. Just take a look. One of his main influences back then and still in current times was a great poet and writer who was called Jan Hanlo. Perhaps you know him. He is a very famous Dutch writer who has published more than 100 poems, and he is already still valued and treasured until today. Tom America has dedicated an entire CD where he was experimentally realizing some of his works in a musical way, and a musical and experimentally inclined way. But this just aside from what I'm going to be introducing today. So we will be beginning with a Fanno d'Amore. It actually was composed of still this very liberated and freedom-inspired and freedom-inclined late punk movement spirit. Songs such as I Need It Too have this secret capability of causing shivers all over your physical existence and mental existence as well, because it has very in-depth lyrical compositions and guitar lines of pure dark and delight. By the way, Tom America was still the main singer in this band, while he later then switched to bass lines because he had some vocal issues, but he still is a good singer. He's doing solo projects as well.
I'm losing you, that's what they say. They must be wrong, I can't believe this. They must be wrong, I can't believe this. They must be wrong, I can't believe this. They must be wrong.
Under the Influence, which perhaps does count as my secret favorite because it has such a subversive and subtle tension, and that gets directly projected onto the listener, while emotionally having developed this kind of dependence on another person, and actually step by step realizing that this dependence is slowly in ourselves destroying our own core and our own distinctive personality, but accepting this kind of core-breaking existence which is happening in the further times because we are just so positively gaslighted.
I may seem suspicious, but I got my reason to hold back. Don't wanna lose myself. I still feel like a guest, and I don't know if it's your party or our party. I'm under the influence. I can't deny it. Under the influence. I'm under the influence of you.
So the Sammie America's Gasphetti then evolved into Sammie America's Mom. So after A Fanno d'Amore was released, 1983, there has been the release of another album under this specific name. Sammie America's Mom's new album features the experimentally expressive majesty of 9 individual songs, which I highly recommend you listening to.
She just walks away. Feels like a long goodbye to know you. Rough as I watch you go. Wish I could be inside your youth.
the Other Side is another song which I surely have to include. It again takes our breath away by the slowly and very suspensefully introduced bass lines. If you remember well, Tom America has now taken over the bass lines, and Peter Bon is now responsible for the singing passages in the song, also doing an amazing job. Especially the forcefully realised in-depth vocal performances with those reminiscences of the past 80s periods is a huge reason for me to consider this piece one of the greatest post-punk songs which has been created in general.
Looking at you now, from this inside me. It's only a short time that fingers touch and hands can hold. The other side.
Diving deeper into the gorgeousness of the band history, we will be now skipping from the first period with Sammie America's Gasphetti onto the next period with Sammie America's Mom, which we have just included, to the final and last period, which was the period where I got introduced to the band, the third final Mom period under the shortest name. So the first album was the vinyl release, which was called Grande. Grande is referring to the English eponymous ground and could be considered the foundation for the band. But with the Mom period, there have been a couple of releases, which I highly recommend you to check them all out. I've also been creating a playlist on YouTube with all the available songs to which you can listen to, especially my favorite ones, just for you to notice. So if you are interested in listening, just further listening sessions. So the band has been, language-wise, transitioning slowly step by step to Dutch. This release was followed by Ontwik in 1987, and then was followed by the majestic Hobbel album, which is so far one of my all-time favorites, and it is pretty rare. Discovering it is very, very difficult. I do have it in my collection due to a good friend of mine who owns a record store. We'll be skipping to the 90s development of the band. There has been released Stout. Stout was released in 1990, and the final release, Coloured in Red. Of course, when we're comparing the previous releases with the first two periods of the band with the last final Mom period, we do see some slight transitions and major changements within the instrumental core and the musical singing vocal development of the band. The band has been transitioning from the obscure 80s dark and kind post-punk feel to a more experimentally driven, soothing, overall pop dreamy sound sphere concept, which I still appreciate so much, because this was the initial period with which I got introduced to the band and with which I fell in love hopelessly until today. So let's begin with my first enchanting song choice, which is called Luistert, Toch, Niemand.
Bij bijna alles is die lichte tegenzin. Alleen als mijn weken op zit of bij het begin. En dan ook alleen maar bij het begin van vakantie is het minder of niet, of tegenovergesteld. Luister nog niemand, dus zeg het maar voor mezelf, voor mezelf. Luister nog niemand, dus zeg het maar voor mezelf.
Also, the song Woord, Woord, Woord is much more than highly recommended to check out, with its dreamily inclined guitar sound spheres.
Vertel geen verhaal, bonbon. Deel mee het smel en het panic. Smeur, smeur. Woord, 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 woord uit mij. Woord, woord, woord overneem. Vertel geen verhaal.
For the song choices, I highly recommend you to listen to some of the precious song treasures from the album Hobbel. One of my absolute favorite songs from this special album is called the Auto Van Ijzer, which is referring to the eponymous English word iron car. Especially the vocal development within the course of the song is just overly impressive.
Schaduw kruipt waar nog geen licht is. Is geen jou, geen mij. De auto van ijzer is op straat. Twee stoelen kun je zien. Twee stoelen en een bank achterin. Glas van
for showing you some live impressions of the band. We will be referring to an amazing song which means unbelievable in English. So let's rightly begin with the song Ongelofelijk.
Hier is de groep Mam en Ongelofelijk.
From some of my favorite song choices from the album Stolt, I would confine myself to the song Schaduw, which means shadow in English, for the reason that it has such a lovely obscurity hidden behind the lines of the song.
Wegduikt zij door de lamp die aangeschakeld wordt. Schaduw is, schaduw is, ongrijpbaar. Schaduw is, schaduw is, ongrijpbaar. Schaduw heeft duizenden tinten. Schaduw is vaag of vlijmscherp.
Jij Is Niet Mij is also a huge favorite of mine because it just ideally works as a soundscape-wise time machine back to our own reflective memories and the glorious 90s days by showing us a wide range of individually stunning sounds and synth-driven compositions. So when it comes to the final last album of Mom, I would love to emphasize the song Hee Kees, my favorite one from the final album.
Kees is weg voor altijd. Zing nu vogels, zing nu. Kees is weg, Kees is dood. Zing nu vogels.
Unfortunately, the band Mom, with their third period, disbanded in 1994. But Tom America fortunately never stopped creating and realizing his artistic visions. He is continuing creating songs through various solo projects. While I have possibly already told you in the beginning of my video that Jan Hanlo was one of his major inspirations, he still is, because Tom America has been dedicating his 1997 first solo album, 𝐤𝐿 𝐤𝐿, which is of course referring to the English eponymous chirp chirp of the bird sound, and yeah, reflecting one very important and famous poem of Jan Hanlo. What I personally consider highly impressive and truly admirable about the entire works and solo compositions of Tom America's later works is that he is contributing to valuing and appreciating and further continuing of cultural, individual and historical matters. But for his full project explained, I highly recommend you to visit his official website. It will also be linked down in my description box for you to look at it as always, just as everything concerning Mom, Sammie America's Mom and Sammie America's Gasphetti previously, of course. Which song was your personal favorite? I knew there was a huge collection in my video today, and we have been dissolving into different musical styles from 80s inspired post-punk with some definite late 70s punk influences, right to some kind of experimental pop-driven melodies. You can discover all different songs, which I have been introducing today, down in my description box. Get yourself the albums. I'm wishing you a magnificent 1st December day. Lots of love and creative spirits with the last stunning final track, which is called Our Stumbling and Our Stammering. Have a magically gloomy day, as always.
Like Edison, looking for the filament, what may I speak about? should I touch? What should I mind? What may I observe? Should I observe the lustre on the door, or the steps in the dark, or the bike on the landing? Oh, what? I'm stumbling, I'm stammering on the building grounds of progress. I'm stumbling, I'm stammering.